Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Q&A and form checks. I'm Mick Solomons, the developer of the Starting Strength app and Strength Club, and alongside me, Starting Strength coach Alex Koesarie.
How's it going, everybody?
Fresh off a day of surfing in sunny California.
Yeah, I went to sunny Ventura Beach to go surfing. It was horrible. The water temperature was near freezing. I want to say about 2 minutes after I entered the water, I started shivering. And I lasted probably about 25 minutes of exhaustive paddling. So if you are a surfer out there, respect. Tell any new person to wear a wetsuit. The people who were taking me were like, "No, you'll be okay. You don't need a wetsuit."
You're just wearing Speedos or something?
I almost died. I was wearing a rash guard. We were just taking the abs out for a spin. But I think I'm a little bit too lean now for cold water activities.
Alex, you've always been too lean.
Too lean for the cold.
And special comments from Rusty Holcomb from the Wichita Falls Athletic Club. G'day, Rusty.
Hey.
How's your week been?
Oh, it's been fabulous. Started off right.
Nice one. All right.
How are your eyes doing, Rusty?
Yeah, how are your
What's
eyes?
that?
How are the eyes doing? 20/20 laser?
The eyes are doing a lot better.
Now?
Not quite 20/20 yet, but they're getting better. No more light sensitivity. I'm seeing a whole lot better. So every day is just a little bit of a climb. So we're good.
Nice one. All right. Well, let's rip into it. We've got a question from Sebastian from Germany. He's 34 years old and he does judo as his main sport. So, Rusty, you should have some pretty good insights into this.
Rusty.
Your specialty.
The Rusty Q. Yeah.
Judo.
So he's saying because of... What's that, sorry?
Judo chop. I know that. Pick that up.
Make the noise. Go on.
Chop. I think that was it.
So he's saying he can't train because of the pandemic. And a friend of his brought him to powerlifting / starting strength. First comments on that little comment there, Rusty.
What's that?
He said a friend of his brought him to powerlifting / starting strength.
Oh, powerlifting starting strength.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah. We are
powerlifting.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Powerlifting, getting stronger. It's the same thing. Interchangeable.
I think literally the second thing Rip ever said to me, besides the fact that I'm really ugly, is that he goes, "What we do is not powerlifting. Powerlifting's a sport." Anyway, sorry, Sebastian. We'll go back to it. He says up until now he did judo specific strength training exercises, and I'm guessing that's a lot of bodyweight stuff.
Yeah,
bodyweight stuff, I guess. Things with shower curtains and whatnot.
Lots of ab-related activities.
Yeah, a lot of abs
for those things.
He's saying that he started training with the barbell and the LP program for 10 weeks now, and his stats are 110 kilogram squat. So what's that, like 245? 80 kilogram bench, which is probably 190. 50 kilograms overhead press and 135 kilogram deadlift with a body weight of 78 kilos. So that's, I don't know, what's that, like 190?
150?
150, okay.
Something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, you get the gist. He's saying, how much muscle should I build with the starting strength program so it does not interfere with my judo training cardio-wise? Until now, I started in the 73 kilogram division when I did a diet and the 81 kilogram division when I was not in the mood to cut weight.
Well, Rusty, you go first.
Okay, so is he afraid of losing his cardio?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the classic saying, a bigger motor doesn't slow the engine down, right? If you put on more muscle and you keep up with your conditioning, you should be fine. You know, and you're going to notice being able to manhandle people when you're stronger. If you're stronger than the other guy that you're fighting, even if his technique is slightly better than yours, you're probably still going to manhandle him because he's not going to be used to dealing with a full-grown man. So, I mean, it really depends on what your goals are. If you want to be skinny with a lot of cardio, if you want to be strong with a lot of cardio. I don't know, Alex. What do you think?
Alex is laughing.
I saw that.
So yeah. So if he's hovering, if you're hovering at 78, the cut to 73 isn't really a cut. People who are on your national Germany circuit or the international circuit, they're cutting 9 to 10% body weight once every month and a half when the season's going. So like Yeah, like the last time I fought at 73, I was walking around at 82. So I went from 82 to 73 on a hard, like 2.5 week cut. You have to do it well. You have to like make sure everything is correct, or you'll kill yourself. The Gatorade Institute of Australia has a lot of really good. They have like a nationalized sport program. They have the best information out there on cutting weight.
Is that a real thing? I can't believe that's a real thing.
It is. It's 100% a real thing. Okay. Yeah. I want to say the guy's name is like something Reed. It's like something Reide. He has a lot of. It's basically been his life work. He's kind of like my go-to guy for it. But they have a lot of good stuff on how to cut weight and not kill yourself. Because like the cuts, that you can go from 10, 11%, they're considered risky, but 9% is fine. So you can walk around at like 78, 79 kilos and get down to 73 without much hassle. But unless you're like 5'5", 5'6", you should probably be at 81 kilos, if I had to bet. Just keep getting stronger. The cardio will come back. Like, it's the guys at 100. If you compete at any sort of high level, the guys at 100 can still run 20 miles whenever they want to. Like the cardio doesn't really matter if you're in a sport like this. But because everyone has good cardio, you will have good cardio if you just practice. But weight-wise, you should probably bump up. I'd say if you fight at 81, you should probably walk around 88 kilos, I'd say. 88 kilos should be fine, especially if you're like in the average, less above average height range. If you're like 5'10" and above, you should definitely bump up to 81 kilos.
I back in my mid-20s, I fought Muay Thai for a while, and I never cut weight once. I was over it from powerlifting in high school. Cutting weight just did not appeal to me at all. So I if I had to, I would just fight up. And weightlifting had definitely prepared me for fighting people bigger than me. So I'm probably not the best person to ask about cutting. Alex obviously answered that way better than I did, but I'm not into cutting anymore. I never will be, and I'm never going to again. I like eating too much.
Oh, we seem to have lost. Well, I think we lost you for about 10 seconds, both of you there. That seemed to be a Skype issue. But anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If you're...
Sorry, go ahead.
But I was going to say, if you're competing locally, don't cut. If it's a local competition, if you're national level or up, cut for it, because everybody else is going to be cutting. So if you're fighting 81 and not cutting, the guys who you're fighting are going to be like 93, and then they're going to crush you.
Man, we need to get a sumo wrestler onto the starting strength program, I think. It's just perfect. It's just perfect for it.
That's the goal, man.
I watched some compilations a couple weeks ago, some sumo wrestling. That is the most brutal sport.
I love watching it.
Ever. It is insanely brutal. There were people just being knocked out left and right with just one strike.
They throw them totally off the. You don't want to sit in the front row at a sumo wrestling.
No. The people are getting hurt all the time. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Imagine trying to tell them that the conventional deadlift is cool.
Wearing that little what's the thing they call that they wear? I think
the diaper. Yeah.
Yeah. Conventional deadlifting in one of those things would be wrong, I think. Got a comment from Tricky Trick 696969.
Back.
Boys, Tuesday morning, woot woot. Here we go.
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday.
What hellish time zone is he in?
That is the man I would drink a beer with.
He's in my time zone, I reckon. I'm pretty sure he's in Australia.
Okay.
All right, let's rip into some videos. We'll do it in alphabetical order this week, just to make it easy for you guys. So we've got Archipelago.
It's a nice home gym setup.
It is pretty
nice. I like it. Yeah. TV in front of the treadmill.
That's the way.
Replicating the commercial gym in the atmosphere as much as you can.
All right. I'll go ahead and start this one. I'm noticing that you're looking straight down. Get your head up a little bit more. Look out a little bit further. I've talked about this before. When you look straight down, chances are it's rounding your upper back too much. So get your head up. And you're also leading with your hips whenever you're starting your descent. You're doing the classic, I'm going to stick my butt out, hold my knees back, and then my knees are going to go forward. Think about dropping your balls straight down. So take a big breath, keep your head up, squeeze your chest up, knees out and forward, stop them, and then your hips finish everything else.
What's the balls down cue for women, Rusty?
You know, I've messed around with different ones. Normally I tell them to drop their ovaries. And then I said that to somebody, and then she goes, I don't have ovaries anymore. I don't know what to tell you then. Just drop straight down.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't come up with a good replica for driving balls. I think most women also still get that cue.
Yeah. I've coached women with bigger balls than a lot of men, so.
But yeah, no, I think everything on there was spot on. Yeah, this still looked pretty light for you. I didn't have sound on with this, but I think he may be letting his brace out early, if I had to bet.
Yeah, I turned it off at the time, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's just some weird guessing on my end. But make sure you're bracing a little bit harder into it. But everything that Rusty said totally checks out.
Okay. Thank you very much, Archipelago. Conrad Sisk. We've got a front squat. Might be our first front squat, I think, on the show.
And here we go.
We've had Conrad on before.
Yeah, I remember digging the hair, Conrad.
Very Viking-esque.
Mm-hmm. So the way I like to explain the elbow position to people in the front squat is that you need to affix your elbows, the tips of your elbows, to a point on the wall that's about like nose height. At the bottom of the front squat, they should still be aiming at that point. The entire time as you go down, they're aiming at it. As you come up, they're aiming at it. So the elbows are going to tilt up even farther than they would be at the bottom, because these aren't really heavy on your legs. These are heavy in the front rack. I'd like to see a little bit more of an apparent brace, so really kind of let the shoulders get up as you're taking that inhale. But stance is fine. Back extension's totally fine. We just got to get the elbows up, and then it should be heavier. This is only, 155, 65? Maybe spend some time getting your low bar up a little bit more. I like to start people front squatting whenever they can kind of like comfortably work with 185 to 205. Normally means their squats in like the mid twos. But that could well be the situation for you, and then the upper back could be the throttling point. I know for some people the front rack's hard. But make sure you're not using this as your primary squatting variation for right now.
I think his stance does need to be a little more anchored. If you notice, his left foot is moving around pretty much the entire lift. It's shifting back and forth. So definitely plan a little bit harder on your heels as you're descending. And as you come up, when you stand up all the way, don't stand up so hard that your feet start shifting. I agree with the elbow position that Alex says. However, some people have a longer forearm, and that makes that rack position really, really hard to get your elbows up. If that is the case with you, you might just kind of be SOL. You could try and widen your grip out a little bit more. That will artificially shorten your forearm. So you might be able to keep those elbows up a little bit harder.
Yeah, his grip's pretty wide right now.
Yeah.
So I think I think this is it's just I don't want to say tight shoulders because I know they're not tight. I just think this is a practice function. This looks like someone who's new to front squats and then they're kind of anxious with the foot position. That's what that is. People pitter patter. You probably see that with your kids all the time.
Yeah. I normally beat it out of them pretty quick.
No pitter pattering. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Conrad. Keep videos coming. We've got a question in the comments from Tricky Trick 696969. Serious question. Brief explanation on progressing weighted chins, as in when to add weight and what sets and reps to aim for before adding.
Alex, how do you approach this? I'll tell you how I approach it.
That's entirely contextual. If you are, it's interesting because it's like for some people, you'll notice that like if they're excellent at using their lats and the chin up and it's not just arm, it will actually play with their deadlift if you are starting to do it weighted. Those people tend to be stronger. So if you can just like slap 70 pounds on there and you're not super practiced with it, you can fry your deadlift. But in terms of like just a generally responding chin up structure, I tend to, if you're focusing on weight, volume doesn't seem to help too much. So if you can take like your top end from like 10 to 15 or from 15 to 20, it's not really going to drive your weighted version too much. So you're just kind of aiming for, or the thing that I found the most helpful is just like density blocks. So just like, hey, put 45 pounds on, put 70 pounds on, something like that. Hit that for as many triples as you can for a session, essentially, for, spend 20 minutes on it. keep trying it because they don't respond as reliably as the rest of the barbell lifts, especially because the fatigue that you're carrying from the press, from the bench, from the deadlift, that you're just trying to juice as much intensity out of it as you can. I know that some people have found success with like an LP-like structure, like, hey, just do it, add 5 pounds to it next week. It can work. But when it stops, you kind of have to start doing a little more creative stuff. And that's where I found that the density block stuff and just a ton of doubles, a ton of triples seems to work really well. There's a few good articles on it. I think Nikki Sims had one. Someone else had one too on the Starting Strength website. You just search chin-ups about like a good basic structure of how to get into them. What do you think, Rusty?
What I've noticed with my kids, and I have 1 or 2 adult clients that are doing weighted chins now, I would start them on a normal chin-up routine, try and get them to do a 3 by 10. I don't normally start weighting them down until they can until they're able to do a 3 by 10 on their chins, and then I'll start loading them and put them on a 3 by 5 and LP that. I've had a lot of success with that. And some people are just, and I always do it at the end of the workout, obviously, because you don't want it to interfere with your main lifts. But I've had a lot of success with that approach to it. I have one client, AJ. I don't understand what causes it because he's not particularly strong. He's basically starting out. He's been training for a couple months, but he is already almost to 80 pounds for a 3 by 5 on his weighted chins. It is insane. Every time he puts on more weight, it just goes. I don't quite understand it. And he's just really good at it. But I digress. That's generally how I approach it. I have yet to have anybody really shit out on running an LP on those. So that's how I've been doing it.
So your recommendation is to start off at 3 by 5 with 80 pounds. Is that what I heard? Correct?
When I do start them out with weighted chins, normally I start at low and just build it up. So I know they can do a 3 by 10. So we're going to 3 by 5. We're just going to do 10, 15 pounds to start out with, and then add 2.5 every time. And it starts getting harder. Then maybe some micro loading. But generally that's how I've been doing it. And I've had success with it every time.
All right.
One other thing I would like to add there is that eventually kind of when you get to a certain point of specialty into it. So like for me, I had to start doing this at around like 120 for singles. Whenever we got to kind of clip at my body weight, I had to start introducing a lot of variation. So like weighted pull-ups, like firm pause chest to bar pull-ups without a kip, like a lot of over-under stuff, because the fatigue cost of them can really sneak up on you. It really can, especially when they get heavy. So you have to start introducing ways to make them hard, but actually keep the absolute load light. So make sure that you're considering it an actual lift. Don't just treat it like a random accessory. So.
Okay. All right. There you go. Tricky trick. We've got our old friend L, up next with their squat.
These are a bit high, L. You need to get your knees out a little bit harder. That will help you hit depth a little bit easier. It looks like your knees aren't really tracking to your toes. Everything else doesn't look too terribly bad. Let's see. I don't hate them. You just need to get your knees out harder in the very beginning and get your hips down a little bit lower and hit depth. If you're not hitting depth, it doesn't count, right? So you're stopping a little bit above parallel. So get your knees out, get a little bit deeper. Everything else looks pretty good. When you get your knees out, that should help with a little bit of travel, how they're traveling the whole time. So push your knees out and then stop them. What do you think, Alex?
So the way I like to think about this is you don't want to have to fight for your knee position when you're already squatting. You want to think about getting it out of the way beforehand. So make sure your toe angle is a little bit more severe. I would point those out maybe another 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. And then the second you start the frame that you start descending, think about rotating your whole leg out, not just shoving your knee out to the side. So like if you physically grab your thigh and just twist it, that's the rotation we're talking about to get it out of the way. Clear room for your stomach. If you can get them out as the squat is starting, you really won't have to fight too hard to keep them out the entire way up. The grip is asymmetrical. I'd probably move the hands out a little bit, try and even that up as much as you can. I think the part of me wants to think it may actually be a little bit too low on you. Again, palpate right behind the spine of the scapula. Try and notch into that spot if you have someone there. Make sure that they can identify that too. I think from the upward angle, it seems slightly too low for me. So that may be causing some shoulder discomfort. But otherwise, everything that Rusty said checks out.
Cool. Good work, El. We've got some more questions.
Is it a tricky trick?
No,
XX?
it's not. It's another
69XX.
LOL. No, it's Crown of Iron, who we had on last week. I think he was asking the question about the Australian football, training for Australian football. But anyway, he said, hey guys, what's an ideal calorie intake for a 45-year-old masters lifter, 5'7", 82 kilograms, starting 4th month of NLP? Have read the blue book and the barbell prescription, but I'm still a bit confused. Then he says he's a little fluffy around the waist, but he's gained from 77 kilos.
So if that's 77 to 82 across 4 months, that's not actually that drastic. You kind of have to accept that when you are gaining weight, you're going to be gaining weight. So that's everything, even the stuff that you don't necessarily want. When you're a little bit more advanced, you can get more specific about it and kind of slow that rate down. But if you're still seeing good progress in the gym, don't bottleneck it with calories for right now. Even if you're just in maintenance, that's not enough of a bottleneck. But just I wouldn't get to an intentional deficit if things are still coming easy to you. Kind of depends on your sport. 5'7" at 82 or 180 pounds in freedom units. In terms of ideal body size for soccer, that may be pretty close, because you are, again, locomoting your body through space for like 8 hours in a row.
It's Australian football, not soccer, so a bit more.
Oh, it's just, yeah,
Aussie rules.
So this is rugby.
No, it's another completely different sport.
The third one?
Yeah, there it is.
Is this chasing a kangaroo around? What is this?
Basically,
how many kinds of football are there?
There's only one, and it's our one.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's. Have you ever seen Gaelic football from Ireland? Where
is it like field hockey?
No, it's basically it's like soccer, except they use an oval-shaped ball, and you can use your hands, and you can tackle, and there's no offsides. It's basically no rules. You can just basically hurt people.
Yeah. So the word that we have developed for it, which is now the correct word, is rugby.
No. That's another different sport. It's like rugby with no offsides.
Okay, so all right, perfect. So we have rugby with no offsides, so you don't even need to know how to count. So I would say rugby, unless for Australian football, for rugby with no offsides. Unless there's like a very specific position where they need like a small guy who's relatively light, stay at 180 and just be fast as hell, get your fast lifts up. But otherwise you probably need to be bigger. And then in that case, you're going to gain weight, and that's going to entail fat gain no matter what you do, So like 5'7", 200 in a sport like that, that's not unrealistic. Especially if you carry it well.
I would say, get big, Crown of Iron, and you're going to put a bit of fat on. And when preseason starts, because they do a lot of running, you're gonna run off a lot of that fat. So get big now, man, while you're not actually training, and get big and strong and fast, and probably do some power cleans as well, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree with Mick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I just pass my SSC certification?
You did. You're officially now.
I'm in.
A Wichita Falls starting coach, athletic coach.
Email you a certificate.
But power clean, power snatch, get everything going. If people are cranking on your neck, do neck work. Do not neglect that. Especially if you haven't done that before. But I think this is the one time where I'm going to suggest unabated weight gain. Just fucking go for it.
What is the world coming to?
Look, he did surfing for one day, and look what happened to him. He's like, nah, this lifestyle's not for me.
Maybe do some ab work, just to bring it back. No.
Okay, thanks, Crown of Iron. Let's keep rolling along. We have J. Hayden 16. We actually have a comment from J. Hayden as well. He said, squat, third set of 5, something feels off, not sure what. Bar placement on back, hip drive, not exactly sure. Sometimes I feel locked in, sometimes a little wobbly. Thanks.
First thing,
I like that rack. I think I made that same exact rack. We may have used the same plans from YouTube, so.
I don't know. I wouldn't trust that rack. I don't trust wood.
Desperate times for desperate
Yeah,
measures,
hey, you got to do what you got to do. I agree with that. I'm just glad he's squatting. First thing I'm noticing is he's not really bending over. He's not bending over enough. I would definitely set your hips back harder in the very beginning and get more of a horizontal back angle. And it looks like you're getting a little bit soft in your low back as your in fact, your whole back is kind of getting soft on the way up. So
yeah, that's the first thing I'm seeing. It's the back. I think you're afraid to lean over because the back isn't necessarily set. So if you did try to lean over in this configuration, you just turn to a big fishing rod / question mark. So what you want to think about, they just released an amazing video of this. I think it's, the 3 positions of low back extension, I believe, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We did one with Isaac. Yeah.
Short video. That'll go over that so you can help identify those positions. But what you're thinking about is squeezing your chest up, trying to inflate your chest, and at the same time pulling your butt up to your shoulder blades. Yeah. Okay. So like tilting your butt back up to your shoulder blades, getting to that hard extension, and then clamping down on that brace. That brace is going to lock your spine in that configuration, and from there you can lean over comfortably with your pelvis. Because remember, it's not your spine bending to lean over; it's your torso rotating around your pelvis. Okay, so your pelvis is rotating around your leg. The whole thing is moving. It's not your spine that's bending. That's not what we're trying to get at. Make sure you know how to set your back into extension, and then you'll be able to lean over. When you can lean over and actually use your hips out of these, they'll feel a lot better.
Yeah. And also get some lifters. Your feet are kind of wobbling like this. Get some lifters. It'll get you a little more planted.
I'm going to veto that. I'm going to say get a real barbell and then get lifters. I think this is am I blind, or is that the 1 inch? Those are the old 1 inch ones.
It is. It definitely is. Okay. But like you said, beggars can't be choosers right now.
I don't think there's a shoe shortage right now. I don't think there's a. Yeah.
I was trying to buy an easy curl bar the other day. You just cannot get them anywhere.
You got to find those are the things where you can get them a dime a dozen on Craigslist or like the Facebook Marketplace.
I don't think we have Craigslist in Australia, or at least
people.
I don't know.
Or at least people aren't using it for selling easy curl bars.
Easy curl bars.
Few comments from the haters. Andrew Clunas. Hello, gents. G'day, Andrew. Triggy Trick said, nice one. Thank you, boys. Travis Reed says, you have to be doing power cleans for Aussie rules. They are a must. Okay. Another certificate for you, Rusty, to send out. Tony Coate, hello. Hopefully you review my squat form on this episode. Over the last month or so, I've developed quite a bit of knee pain at the bottom of my knees to the bottom part of my quads, more on the inside of my knee. I don't know if we're doing your video today, Tony, unless you're Tony 1977. Anyway, let me know and I'll have a look for it. Crown of Irons, thanks, guys. I'm doing power cleans. I'll post a form check for next time. Cool. Okay, Tony. Yep, that is you, Tony. So we're doing your video later. All right, cool. Let's keep rolling. Who's up next? We have
Joaquin.
Joaquin Rabe.
You guys know the first thing I'm noticing.
The gloves? It's the gloves, isn't it?
Lordy. Lordy.
They look like the chainmail cut gloves for a second. I realized they
do.
Yeah, Joaquin, are you a knight?
Yeah.
So, Joaquin.
Get a chainmail coif, wear it to the gym, intimidate people. Lots of cross necklaces. Maybe it's a rule. Maybe it's a Corona times you rule. That could be it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Otherwise, these look totally serviceable. I'd like to see the hips be a little bit higher. This is still submaximal for you. So you're seeing like the back get a little bit softer as the bar gets off the ground, and the hips are coming up just like half an inch. I would be more patient at the bottom, spend an extra 1.5 to 2 seconds squeezing the chest into position, get tighter to it, and then try to pull fast once you're tight. Okay, don't think about keeping a smooth pace. Just think about launching it off the ground the second that you're set up.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to get a belt, man. Belts are good tools that will help you. So that's my biggest suggestion. That will help you keep your back in a little bit better extension. Yeah, take your time setting up. You're kind of like as soon as it hits the ground, you're already ready to rip it again. And like you said, these are submaximal, so you're able to pull it off. But the moment these start getting challenging and turn into grinds, your form is going to go out the window as soon as you start jerking on that bar. So do the 5 steps to set your first rep up, and then try and make that first rep as repeatable as possible.
Is he doing double overhand? I mean, that's a pretty impressive weight to be doing double overhand.
Well, he's got gloves on. Come on.
How much do you reckon those gloves are doing, though? Seriously, I mean.
No, I don't think he's double overhand. He's
hook gripping?
He's got one hip turned.
Mm-hmm.
Does he?
Yeah. Right hand is turned under. If you kind of look at the inside of the elbow, you'll see.
Oh, yeah, he used to. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these don't even count anymore.
All right, thanks, Joaquin.
We're slowly turning into a group that just roasts everybody, because I'm okay with it.
Well, I mean, I don't think I could do this for an hour without not doing that. We've got
this is court-ordered community service. I have to send this to a magistrate after this.
All right, we've got Jay Petrie next, or Petrie.
To start, I really don't like it when people swing and swoop under the bar. I think it's really hard to get tight to it. I think a lot of people with flexible shoulders do that, and they kind of like socket it into position. But if you can do that, that means you could have gotten tighter if you actually tried. What I like to say is make the first point of contact the top of your shirt, the tip of that collar. Your hands are set, and then you push into it and past it to lock it into that groove on top of your rear delts. And then once you're there, you'll notice the upper back position is a lot tighter. Otherwise, these look pretty light. You're rocking back onto your heels as the whole system kind of comes up. I'd like to see some more hip drive. If I were cueing you in person, I would say finish this on your toes. But these are totally serviceable. What do we got? 195 on the bar. So keep on keeping on, man.
Yeah. I agree everything he said. Other than that, they look fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jay Petrie.
We got to get a soundboard and then keep that.
we could probably automate these whole videos just with clips of your.
Yeah. I'd be like, listen, you gotta improve your upper body volume, triple it, blast some trend, and then just have a Rusty I agree follow in.
Ab work. Paul Taylor in the comments: if anyone is thinking about hiring either of these guys as a coach, just do it. You won't regret it.
There we go. Paul Taylor.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Is that your mum's pseudonym, Alex?
That's my stepdad. No. Wait, you know what? Actually, I think that's Paul who visited me from one of the Carolinas. Hey, Paul, how's it going, man?
Oh, cool.
Paul will be hitting a 300-pound bench soon. I've been hammering that guy, so he's been doing good.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. Good work, Paul. Kyle M. I've got some notes from Kyle. He says, "Hi, I can't tell if my lower back should have more curve to it or if it's at a good level plane. Looks like my back stays pretty straight at the bottom. I don't know if I have a little bit of butt wink. Thank you in advance."
It seems like the camera angle is going to tell us exactly what the low back is doing.
He didn't want us to see anything else but the bottom of the squat.
I mean, I'm more interested in what the hell's going on in the background. Is he squatting in a meth lab?
No, that's the beauty of American engineering. That's what's going on there. Yeah, you're looking at a hot water tank and some electrical stuff going on there.
Okay, wow. I don't know if I'm in the future or in the past in Australia, but that looks, I've never seen anything like that before.
All right.
The squat itself. Rusty, take it away.
Yeah, so Kyle, you got to control your knees, buddy. Again, it's hard to tell what your upper back is doing in the beginning of the squat, but it looks like you're not in full extension up top. I'd get your upper back a whole lot tighter. And as you're descending, your knees are coming in and forward really hard. So you have to get your knees out, stop them, and sit back harder. I don't like the butt wink term. I think it's overused and it's overemphasized too much. But your lower back is giving out and your hips are tilting forward in the bottom. So you have to control your hip position and pull those hips back. Again, Alex brought up that video that we just posted last week about the positions of the low back. Watch that video so you can establish how to get your back or your pelvis tilted back a little bit and then bracing and holding that a little bit tighter. You're just losing so much tightness in the bottom. Everything's getting real loose and everything's jumping forward. Your hips are tilting forward. Your upper back's a little rounded. Your knees are shooting forward and then in at the very bottom. So you got,
in short, it's
yeah.
a mess.
It's a mess. It's a bit of a mess, and it's nothing that can't be fixed. But you just got to pay a little more attention to the little things.
Yeah, I think all of the big list of symptoms there, I think it just comes from low back control at the end through the entire movement. At the top of this, you seem to be a little bit hunched over, and then the second you start moving, it just gets more and more round to kind of keep on that midfoot position. So it's like you're trying to keep the bar over midfoot. You're doing a great job of that. So that rule, that law, is still being maintained, and you're maintaining it by constantly changing the shape of your spine rather than getting the rest of the things out of the way. So make sure you know how to set your back. Look up the gymnastics hollow body or the arch body. You'll find a lot of resources. So basically just kind of getting in that Superman position, taught by some good folks. Alex Mitchell said like twerking, like put your hands on your knees like you're going to twerk and then try and push your stomach down and through. That was a fun one. Thanks, Alex. And then just the classic, aiming your chest up in front of you, aiming your butt up at the wall behind you. I'd be interested to see your deadlift. If you can pull off back extension in the deadlift, try and replicate that here. And then again, you're leaning over with your entire torso rather than bending your spine on the way down. And then when you do that, I would bet that a lot of these issues get resolved. But the low back needs to get that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Kyle. Was that Kyle? That was Kyle, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Kyle.
That was Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle.
All right, cool. Next we have Lee. Oh, I've been looking forward to this one.
I saw the thumbnail for it, and I'm like, no, this is an Alex lift, 100%.
Oh, here we go.
We had Lee on last week. His deadlift.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a good video. I like more of these, man. Yeah. So, Lee, you may enjoy this. I really like forward leaning curls. Because once you get past the sticking point, they're just kind of easy. Nothing happens. Tilt forward like 20 degrees like you're just starting an RDL. The top of it's the hardest point. It's great. Give it a try, especially with the straight bar. Other than that, man.
just do what Alex says.
Come on, Rusty. You must have some sort of feedback.
some fun curls.
I think one thing that will make this better is if you were a stringer instead of a cutoff. So it needs to be the smallest amount of material as possible. Like nipples exposed, everything.
I'm going to disagree with that one. I think the
Really?
cutoff is for arm day. I think the stringer is for chest day.
Whoa.
I think Lee knows the nuance.
I'm pretty sure
bodybuilding.
chest day and curls day are the same day, aren't they?
No. You
Yeah,
break
just
up
by-
everybody.
Oh, right.
Those are separate days.
Oh, jeez. I'm just annoyed the whole bodybuilding community now. Sorry about that, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, try the forward leaning curls, Lee. You may like them.
All right. Forward-leaning curls. I like it. Thanks,
I
Lee.
tested I tested my curl 1RM for fun after a bunch of weighted chin-ups. I got 120. Strict as hell.
It's not bad. What's your 1RM curl, Rusty?
This is an exhausting conversation.
Is the most curls you do is lifting Monster Mash to your mouth? Is that the most number
Pretty
of curls?
much, yeah. I get my curls done while I'm trying to get my fucking squat up to 405 for 5.
All right, thanks, Lee. MJDC. I think we've had him on before as well. I'm loving the clap of chalk raining down onto the camera.
Now, see, this is what I'm into right here. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then he's got a mask on.
So
Those are cool shoes.
So
I
is
will
the guy
say that.
texting
I
on the
don't
leg
know
press
what
behind
those
him.
are. Texting on the leg press? That's a pro move.
Yeah, that's
It is. Yeah. Now, if he starts moving the leg press while he's texting, then I'm going to be super impressed.
I've texted and hack squatted before. I have done that.
And when was the last time you hack squatted?
I was in Pittsburgh like a month and a half ago. So they didn't really have a good squat rack, but they had a squat machine. So hack squat. One of the old time like sled loaded hack squats.
I guess you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do, man.
So
Chase the pump.
MJDC left a comment, which is good timing. He says, when he deadlifts, he often feels the weight is back on my heels. Toes come off the floor at the top of the lift.
Okay. Let's look.
Yeah, I'd start with the stance. So I think the grip width is fine. If you're looking at it from the front, the arms are hanging down as vertically as they can. So we can't complain too much about that. I would narrow your stance so that there's maybe about like 2 to 3 inches between your heels. So think like the length of a credit card kind of is a good mental note for that. Once you're there, your knees are not going to interfere with your arm position. Because if you're looking at it right now, your knees are behind your arms. Everything is kind of running into itself. So move the legs together. Your arm should be on the outside of your leg rather than front of it. And then think about, for the heels issue, probably just put some more weight on the bar. It'll keep you forward. This may not, I don't know if there's some 25s in there, but this may be a little bit too close to your body weight to, center you right on midfoot. So.
Yeah. As far as getting on the heels, one thing that I think it could be is, and I see it up at the top, at the very top, you're leaning back so hard that your toes are coming up off the ground. Stay over the bar longer. Don't think about pulling the bar. Think about pushing the floor away. So that will help you keep your chest over the bar a little bit more, and then use your arms to keep it against your leg. You're going to have to use some lats and a little bit of fortitude to pull that bar into you, because your shoulder is going to be here, your hands are going to be here. So there's going to be a slight angle to your arm as you're driving your feet straight down and pulling the bar up. So that might fix that problem for you. Try and stay over the bar a little bit longer.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a lot of problems that kind of just mature out on their own. I think that kind of imbalance at the top is one of them. Like you have an instinct of self-preservation and don't want to fall over, you'll probably stay balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks very much, MJDC. Couple more comments. Let's see, where are we? Ron Norman, I'm sure you guys had this discussion before, but I did not catch it if you mentioned what to look for in belts and brands. Yeah, we actually did talk about this just last week, Ron. Mm-hmm. Rusty, what do you reckon? What's your favorite belt?
I'm obviously going to recommend, I'm sorry, guys, Dominion Strength. They make our starting strength belt, which is an excellent belt. The different sizes. You got 3 and 4 inch. You got double ply. Go ahead and check those out. Those are the ones that I recommend to all my clients who are first starting, not just because it's got our name on it, but because they are good belts. They're solid belts. They normally get them to you within a week or so. Obviously, whenever everybody was working out at their home, it pushed demand up for a little bit, and it took some people about 2 weeks to get them, I believe. But they're ready to go generally, and they will get to you quick. If you go to other sites like Pioneer, it normally takes you a little bit longer because those are normally made to order, and they're backlogged really hard. So
if you try and get an Inzer belt, it's going to be like 2022.
Oh yeah, Inzer's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
That's the brand that I recommend.
Do Dominion make a good Velcro belt, Rusty?
I don't think they make Velcro belts. I could be wrong. They might, but I wouldn't recommend it.
I actually just go and get Velcro belts, and I leave them in commercial gyms, and I just write starting strength on them.
I will say this about Velcro belts is I find them if I'm Olympic lifting and it's heavy, a Velcro belt gives me just that little bit more support that I like, and I still feel flexible enough to get in positions and it not hinder or get in my way of the bar path. But I haven't really done that in a while. But I think Velcro belts they have their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Kyle M. Lol Meth Lab. Ha. Okay. Oh, then he says, my gym is sharing my boiler room and laundry room, only place I had in my house. LOL.
There we go.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Matthew Joseph, thanks y'all. No worries, Matthew. Next we have... Who have we got next?
Muscogee boy or M. Sanford? Did we just do
M. Sanford. Did we just look at M. Sanford? Oh, no. Yeah, M. Sanford. I think we had him on last week as well. I think he was squatting last week.
Mm-hmm. This is the awesome setup.
It is.
Is that this guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is this a home setup?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Nice. That is very nice.
I remember the
Yeah,
chinos.
this
That's
is-
what I remember most about M. Sanford.
Yeah. He's ready for business at all times.
Yeah.
So I think this is one of the big things that I think people take away from the squat. They pull it over from the squat. No one told them to. It's just kind of the thing that happens about the eye gaze being like 3 to 5 feet in front of you. The deadlift, it is farther out. We are trying to get your chest aimed up and in front of you. So your camera person who's standing in front of you, they should be able to see your sternum during this lift. You're trying to get your hips high, your chest high at the same time, and your face needs to be out with that, So pace it out in front of your bar position, 10 to 12 feet on the ground, put something shiny there so you remember to stare at it. And I think that would end up solving a lot of the problems. On this one, I think you're craning over the bar for a little bit too long, and I bet many dollars that your back is a little bit soft during the pull.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can tell his back is very soft during this pull. I don't think he's actually putting it in extension at all. He's kind of just bending over and then picking it up. So, yeah, and you also need to go ahead and go to our YouTube and look at some videos about how to set up on a deadlift properly, because your knees are kind of facing too far forward, straight on, which is going to put your shin more vertical. And that's going to make your hips artificially too high. We always talk about having high hips, but the point of high hips isn't to just have high hips. It's to put your back and your legs in a good position. So I would go ahead and follow the 5 steps to setting up a deadlift. You can find that anywhere, starting strength 5 steps to setting up a deadlift. We've got lots of videos on the YouTube that will show you exactly what to do. But to me, you're just kind of standing over the bar, bending over, grabbing it, and picking it up. And there's a lot more to a deadlift than just bending over and picking up the bar.
Yep. If anyone's wondering, Alex is in a hotel. That's why he sounds like he's calling us from the moon at the moment.
Yeah.
He's actually calling us from California, which might as well be.
Hey.
His governor right now is restricting his internet flow.
Yeah, you probably should be wearing a mask right now, Alex,
He's having
as well.
too much fun. He's having way too much fun. He's about to cut off his power.
Yeah.
Who's next? We've got Musker G Boy. Musker G Boy.
It's good.
He says, I've been struggling with my press for quite a while. I feel like I'm doing something wrong when I do the jerk at the bottom to get momentum. And I want to send my kids to this kindergarten, by the way.
That's a good one. What does it say in the inside of the rack? Reese?
Yeah, crease. Something about a crease.
Crease. I don't know.
Interesting.
Might have been a prop from
Rusty,
Grease the musical.
This seems like exactly something you'll see in the seminar very shortly.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's something I see all the time, honestly.
Every day.
This is the thing that I've got to fix all the time. Yeah, your elbow position is honestly there's a lot to break down here. I would definitely see how your toes are kind of. I'm going to start with the most obscure thing. See how your toes are touching that platform. Get away from that platform a little bit more. Get away from the platform. Get your stance out wider. I'm just going to start from the feet and work myself up. Get wider. Basically, take your squat stance and then move that out another foot width. So you want a slightly wider stance, right? And when you take it out, you want to already be in a position ready to press that bar. So you're going to need to get your wrists more straight. We have lots of videos on how to get a good compression grip with the bar. Take it out with your elbows in and forward, and you want to hold that bar under your chin nice and hard. Okay, this is a good position to start the press. And then your hips go, and in your brain you have to think hips, press. It's 2 different movements. Your hips go forward, the bar bounces, and then you drive past your head and then shrug it up. So these are more of just kind of you're just lazily throwing your hips and then pressing the bar without really doing anything that your hips are trying to do. So you got a lot of work on these. So those tips are just kind of a start. I know I keep saying go onto our YouTube and look at some videos, but they will be a lot more informative and can break things down a little bit quicker than I can in 2-3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of this one is the mental model. This is a fast lift. You need to treat it like a fast lift. You need to take it out with authority and press it violently every single rep.
Yep.
If you're trying to press this slow, maybe it's the kindergarten environment. That could be it. It's not really going to work. These are great strict presses. You can strict press this all day. Probably hit that for 8 with this bar speed. But what you want to think about is short, the stance. Take your squat stance. Next, get your forearm stacked on top of your upper arm. Get your upper arm stacked on top of your shoulder and your chest, right here. Once you're there, that hip motion needs to be fast. The rebound needs to be faster. Okay, so that's the shortest explanation for it. And then just watch more people press, and you'll kind of get a better mental image of the pacing.
Yeah. Whenever you hit that bounce in the press, this is what I tell people: explode off the shoulders. It has to move fast, like Alex said. It's an explosive movement off the shoulders, and that doesn't mean that you're using any kind of plantar flexion or jumping. It's not a push press, but it needs to move fast.
Yep. Okay, there we go. Comment from Crown of Iron: if you wear a mask, should it at least be Bane style? I don't know what that means. Obviously,
he's talking about
the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
Oh, okay, righto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
fair enough. Nick 2000, is it Nick 2000 next?
Oh yeah, Nick 2000.
Yes. This is the guy from his grandma's house.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I just want him to yell out meatloaf, like bring meatloaf. That's what I want.
Where's the meatloaf?
Ma, meatloaf.
I don't know what she's doing.
Such a good movie.
It is underrated.
Yeah, very.
I think you're holding the knees back a little bit too far, Nick 2000. I also appreciate you sticking with those sorts of names. It's like you're living in 1970, but 2000 is a futuristic year. Yeah, so you're holding the knees back too far. It's the fastest way to do this. I'd probably look at Paul Horn's video. I want to say it's like, let's get to the bottom of your squat. It has a really good explanation of why the knees need to go forward immediately, and the rest of it can move around it. But in short, we're trying to get your knees out right over your toes, and then the rest of it can move around that fixed point in space. The knees will come back when they have to. You don't really have to think about it. Other than that, these are still really light for you. Eat food, do curls, do chin-ups.
Yeah. I think this is only his second or third week of LP. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Congrats, dude. Yeah, the big thing about the knees getting forward, it's really hard to do hip drive if your knees are already in a completely vertical position. So they have to go forward. I used this cue earlier. Drop your balls straight down to start the squat. That will get your hips and your knees to break at the same time, and then your knees stop. And preferably in about the first quarter of the squat, your knees to already need to be where they need to go, and everything is hips after that. And then in the very bottom, your hip drive comes up, your knees help your hip drive come up. All right, so they have to be forward a little bit. All right.
Yep. All right, Nick 2000, good job. Travis Reed, love the Wedding Crashers references. It's one of those movies that every time it's on TV, you have to stop what you're doing and watch it. Guaranteed laughs every single time. Not wrong there, Travis. Next we have, is it Paul 75?
Paul 75.
Paul 75. I reckon we've had Paul on before as well.
If the numbers are correct, he's way worse than Nick 2000.
All right, we're going to take a guess at how long it's going to take for him to actually do this first rep. Like how many seconds into the video?
It wasn't bad. It
Not
wasn't
too bad.
too long.
Oh, you fast forwarded?
No, it was about 20 seconds.
Okay, it's not too
before
bad.
he actually decides to start.
Yeah.
It's not bad. We've had worse.
You're doing a really good job of setting your lower back. I
Yeah,
would
his
like to
upper
see
back.
more attention paid to your upper back. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. That was the first thing I was going to say, because everything else looks pretty good. You just need to get your upper back a little bit tighter. What I like to think is right below your shoulder blades, pretend there's a hand or a pencil or something, and you're trying to pinch that with your shoulder blades. So you're not going to pull straight back with your shoulder blades. It's going to be more of a back and down motion. Squeeze your chest up a little bit harder, shoulders come back and down, and try and maintain that on the way up. It'll give you less work to do whenever you get to the lockout if you're already pretty much in good extension up in your upper back.
Yeah, it seems like you're kind of choking up on your shoulders a little bit, trying to pull them towards your neck almost. Think about having nice, long, straight arms. Don't route any tension through the bar. This is one time I won't advocate a curl. Do not curl into the bar with this. Get heavy in your hands and then squeeze your chest up. Your shoulders will come down a little bit. You'll have a better time with thoracic extension. Otherwise, these are good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like these.
Good on you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
R. Balboa. I'm excited for whatever this is going to be. He said, 165-pound work set. I'm having difficulty finding the right bar position and grip angle. If I bring my hands in, then my elbows are straight below the bar. If I angle elbows in line with back angle, then my grip is off. If I angle elbows in line with the back angle, then my grip is off. Okay.
I see what he's talking about. He's doing it right now. He's curling over the bar.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yep.
And this is a problem bigger guys have. Either it's shoulder mobility problems, shoulder flexibility problems, or it's just the fact that he's got a lot of meat on his upper back. So that bar is actually rounding, like rolling a little bit. So he's going to have to figure out how to secure that bar without it rolling around on him. Any tips you think, Alex?
A few. If this is a problem that's actually, this squat looked very submaximal. If you had in-person coaching, I could probably put 225 on this, and you would still be able to squat it. If you think that the grip position or the rack position is the bottleneck, it's the point that is the limiting factor for the squat, you can try some modifications, like a talon grip, like taking the pinky under so you can get the hand rotated out more, get the wrist a little bit more under the bar. That's an idea. Getting the thumb around the bar, that's an idea. You'll have to play around with it. First thing I would say is check your shirt material in a way such that, like, it's thick, it's cottony. It's not like a athletic t-shirt like an Under Armour one like I have on. So that the bar has a bit more of a stable surface to move around on. Chalking your back as well. And then for some people who have that constant almost push up on the bar due to either being very kyphotic or having some extra meat on the back and it's just soft and it's moving up, I'll tell them to almost think about pulling down on the bar, and then that will normally straighten the wrists out. We don't want you to be curled over the bar like this really ever. We want that wrist to be relatively neutral, just like everything else. But I do not think that's the bottleneck right now for these. I would widen up your stance by about like 2.5, 3 inches in total. And then everything else I think should sort itself out. You have good segment lengths for spotting. So,
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, we did a video that actually caught some flack about shirts, and but it's a problem. People want to train in those really high tech Under Armour shirts that are sweat wicking because they're nice and cool and they keep them cool, but they are horrible surfaces for bars to stick with because they don't have a lot of friction on them. So yeah, get a cotton t-shirt. Cotton tees will always have a lot more friction.
That gets amplified when you're in a commercial gym and the knurling is gone on every bar.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to fix your grip as soon as possible. It will help you put more weight on that bar. B, from somebody who had a problem with my grip slipping whenever it got real heavy, I would start in a real good position and then I would start cranking on the bar, and next thing I know, I'm over the bar just like you, and I'm pulling down on it, and I got horrible elbow tendonitis from doing that. So save your elbows, fix your grip, get your palms under the bar a little bit more. Do what Alex said, and yeah, this is very submaximal. You can put a whole lot more weight on that bar.
Yep.
Yeah, take 10-pound jumps for 5 or 6 workouts.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Thanks, R. Balboa. Skate NCR 8.
Do a kickflip.
This is an interesting home gym.
Oh, he's got the mirror, the Velcro belt. Is that a Velcro belt?
Man, get rid of that mirror, dude.
That's a red
that's a good belt.
It's a leather belt.
Yeah.
That's a nice thick belt.
Yeah, I know Alex sees that mirror and gets super excited, but get rid of that mirror, man. You are really close to yourself.
Yeah, I think you may actually I would just turn your hooks around, man. You're super close to that wall. If that rack's bolted down, just turn around.
They just made it a balloon coming.
Is there a balloon?
Yeah, that's what I saw as well.
And
then it gets popped. It gets popped as well.
There's a small child in there, I think.
Okay. I'd move your pins down 1 to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he's nearly resting on there.
That close. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're starting to punch these down with your head. Think about keeping your head over your shoulders, keeping it a long neck. Okay. You're not trying to tuck your chin. No one's going to punch you in the face. You don't need to shove your nose down to the ground. We need more thoracic extension here, and I think that will solve a lot of the problems here. Otherwise, think about the bounce being fast. Don't think about sinking or relaxing into the bottom. You're generating tension, and then once you hit depth, all of that tension is working for you, and you're using that to pop yourself right back out of the bottom. Don't think about sinking into the bottom and slowly deciding to come back up. When that happens, you'll see people basically doing what you're doing now, where they'll do almost a pause squat intentionally. Really try and pop out of the bottom. The rest of this looks okay. I think the grip position may need some work, but I think that's going to be accompanied with the chest position. So,
yeah. Alex hit everything on the head. One piece of advice I would give is quit taking so long between reps. Just holding that bar on your back is going to start wearing you out. How I've been telling people is take as much time you need to get a good rep in. And with a squat, it shouldn't take much. As soon as you get up, get that big breath, squeeze tight, and then get your next rep in. Whenever you're doing heavier sets, you might need to get an extra breath or two whenever you get to the last fourth and fifth rep. But don't stand there and just hold the bar. It will start wearing on you and will make things a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Other than one misconception a lot of people have is that it shouldn't be your heart rate shouldn't be high at the end of it. You're trying to pace your way through the set. It should look like rep one every single time. So the cardio demand is going to get higher as your reps go on. It's going to feel like your heart is beating faster, but that's totally fine. Don't let how exhausting it feels get in the way of the correct pacing for the movement. So
yeah, definitely. And I see that a lot with the press as well. People will just hold that bar there and they're just thinking about, what they're going to do, what they're going to eat later, their plans for the weekend, and then they decide to press. And then by the third, fourth rep, they're just worn out. Take as much time as needed for a good rep, but don't take any more time than that. So just, in between reps, just get that big breath, squeeze, and go again.
I like the balloon popping. I feel like it's, keeping him on his toes. It's just like adding an extra variable of, adrenaline. And someone definitely popped it. So
yeah, Skate and Crate is a tier 1 operator. He's a Navy SEAL. Situational awareness. He's ready for combat at all times.
All right, last video. Strong Moomin. I think we've had him on.
And Tony 1977. Don't forget about Tony.
Yeah, we got one more after this.
Oh, yep. Sorry about that. All right, let's keep going.
This is a hard angle to coach, but I can already see a couple things. You're kind of lazily taking the bar out of the rack, and it's really, really low. I talked about this earlier where you need to get your elbows up and in and get that bar under your chin and hold it there strong. You want to start in that strong position. So you can throw some hips. These are obviously strict presses, and if you're strict pressing, that's great. But you're wearing yourself out by having that bar really low and then pushing it that huge long range of motion and bringing it back way, way low again. You wouldn't have crapped out on that fifth rep if you would have held it strong under your chin and strict pressed from that position. You'll put your shoulder and your elbows into better positions to have more power going up.
Yeah, just think about getting your bottom position right in front of your Adam's apple. Okay, just right in that basically middle point of your neck, and then again, forearm stacked on top of your upper arm pocketed right near your shoulder. Everything should be tight. It shouldn't feel like a very comfortable position, but it should feel like you can get some bounce out of it. But otherwise, these would be pretty simple to fix. Just move the bottom position up. You should be good.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much, Strong Moomin. Tony, and why haven't I got his video here? All right, hang on a second.
1977.
Yeah, Tony 1977. All right, I've got it now. There we go. Hopefully Tony hang around to watch his form check.
Oh, the ideal seminar squat, Rusty.
Yeah, I know, right? These look like they're getting higher as the set goes on. Because they are getting higher as the set goes on. Let's see.
So I'd start with the stance width. You kind of were at a relatively good stance width to start, and then you widened it out a little bit. Pull your stance in, I'd say about 2 inches in total. Think about shoving the knees out harder. Everything's kind of collapsing in and forwards as you get a little bit deeper into your squat. Keep everything out and back. Use the drop your hips right down between your balls one for this one. Essentially just try and get your hips straight down. I think the rest of it should organize itself once the stance is fixed, once the knees get out. Avoid the temptation to lift your head up. Your wrists are also bent. I can kind of see it in the forearms. Get your wrist straight, get the wrist over the bar, even if you have to think about it like that. And I think that these would probably come together if you can just fix those things. Fix the stance, just fix the wrists, fix the head.
Yeah. Also, mind your gaze, too. You're kind of looking all over the place, and every now and then you'll look down and check on your feet. Pick that spot about 6-7 feet in front of you and lock into it. If you're staring at a wall, pick a spot on the wall and don't take your eyes off of that one spot kind of lower towards the corner of the wall.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was the knee pain guy. Yeah. So as for your knee pain, you're sliding forward on your knees the entire time. Your quads are handling a disproportionately high amount of this load, especially if you've just been, and you'll see it with these kind of form deteriorations. These people will increase weight as the form gets worse and worse, and normally one of these body parts will take over the majority of the loading. In this case, it's likely your knee, and then you're causing a lot of knee pain. So your knees are rotating in and forward during the entire motion, handling a lot of load. Could be a good reason for your pain. So getting these out, getting these back, that'll probably help that out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And, if you're not squatting to depth, if you might want to deload this bar a little bit because these are already really hard and you're squatting high. There's a lot of form issues. So you're going to have to take some weight off this bar to fix some of this stuff and hit proper depth. If you take some weight off that bar and hit proper depth and, keep your knees back, don't let them slide forward so much, that knee pain probably will go away.
Yep. All righty. That's the last video for today. Got a couple more comments. Andrew Clunas, he says his video isn't on this session. Should I submit again next week? Thank you. So I just checked, Andrew. You only submitted a video yesterday, and we've got about 50 videos ahead of you. So it's probably going to be a couple of weeks until we get to you, unfortunately. So we only do this for an hour every week. And we can get through about 15 videos. So anyone who's submitting their video this week is probably going to be about a 3-week wait. So sorry about that. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
We are going to have a priority form check option in the app. So if you want to get your video back in a couple of days, you can pay some money and Alex will take a look at your video for you. Ron Norman, thanks for the great pointers, guys. I learned something every video.
That's awesome.
On your
That's the point.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point of this.
Yep. Crown of Iron, thanks, guys. Paul75 is my other alias. Oh, okay. Oh, that's Crown of Iron, righto.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool. No worries. Andrew Clunas again. A backlog, no problems. Fair enough, thank you. All right. No worries, Andrew. We'll get to it soon. All right, guys. Anything else? Anything else you guys wanted to chat about? You're all done. Rusty's ready for bed.
I am ready for bed.
Yep. Alex, you're good.
If you're looking for some online coaching, we'll throw a link in the description. Email me. We'll chit-chat about programming. I'll help you out.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just rewatched the pilot for The Sopranos. I'm going to make another run through that. So
yes,
that's on the docket for the next month.
Solid choice. I started that Perry Mason HBO show, and it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. Perry Mason. Perry Mason was an old black and white show about a lawyer, and then they're redoing it on HBO, and it's fantastic. So far it's good. The new season of The Boys,
utilizing all the quarantine time.
Yeah,
I like The Boys.
New season. Yeah, the new season of The Boys is really, really good. I'm ready for them to start releasing more episodes.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a hold of me, it's going to be Rust_strength_training. Just slide in my DMs. If you want to argue about programming, just send your argument my way. I will look at it and promptly delete it. So,
and if you're a lady, Rusty will reply. Definitely,
I will reply. There's 0 chance I will not reply.
Yeah, if you're a female who wants to talk about German volume training, Rusty's your boy.
Anything German, really. I'll talk about it with you.
All right, thanks a lot, fellas. We'll catch you next week.
Excellent.
All right,
Bye,
see you
guys.
guys.
Bye.